In this video, we'll be looking at section 2.0, solving quadratic equations. And our essential question will be, how do I solve quadratic equations? So the first thing we need to talk about before we solve quadratic equations is the zero property. The zero property states that if A times B equals 0, then A or B must equal 0. So one of them must equal 0 if when I multiply them together, it equals 0. Now we've gotten to the point where we're more comfortable with A and B being more than just letters or more than just numbers or more than just variables. They can be whole expressions now. So let's say I had this expression, x minus 2 times x plus 3, and it equals 0. Well, this is the idea of my A times my B. So what this property is saying is that A, x minus 2 must equal 0, or B, x plus 3 must equal 0. So we're going to end up coming up with two solutions. So what we do is we just set each piece equal to 0, and then we solve. An equal sign. So my solution set would be x equals 2 or negative 3. And we'd write it like that. Okay. So when we look at an equation that's written like this, we can see that if we're given a quadratic in our ax squared plus bx plus c form, all we have to do is factor it, and we'll be in this a times b equals 0 form. Let's do an example from beginning to end with our process. Okay, the first step is the equation must equal 0. So say the equation I'm starting with is 6x squared minus x plus 3 equals 5. Well, must equal 0. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and then I'll have 6x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. Step 2 is factor the quadratic. So we have our quadratic, 6x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. We're going to factor it, so we'll use our AC method to do this. Put negative 12 up top, negative 1 down below, negative 4 and 3. So I'm just going through my factoring process. Like so. Then we'll do our grouping. I can factor a 2x out of my first group. And then I'd be left with 3x minus 2. And then I can factor out a 1 out of my second group, because I don't want this 3x minus 2 to change, so I factor out that 1. Then I bring everything together, and I have 3x minus 2 times 2x plus 1 equals 0. So now we have our factors, our a times our b equals 0. So now I'll just set each piece, the 3x minus 2 equal to 0, and I'll set the 2x plus 1 equal to 0, and we'll solve. So that's our final step. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So we'll have 3x minus 2 equals 0, or we can say 2x plus 1 equals 0. So we just have to find what x equals to make either one of these true, and both solutions are correct. So we'll just go through our solving motions, add 2, 3x equals 2, divide by 3, x equals 2 over 3. I'll do the same thing for my 2x plus 1 factor. Subtract 1, 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2, and we get x equals negative 1 half. And that's how we're going to solve for x when looking at quadratic equations. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.